As people age, they want to be able to live independently as long as possible without moving into a facility that can provide for their health and other needs. But that can be a challenge without the right kind of support. In the next few minutes, we're going to learn about Capital Healthy Living, a program that does just that, providing independent seniors in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties with the care and services they want and need. This is Capital Health Headlines, the podcast from Capital Health. I'm Michael Carisse, and here to fill us in on this program is David Daffelow. He's Vice President of Population Health for Capital Health System. And why don't you start by adding to that very brief explanation of what this program, Capital Healthy Living, is all about?
We recognize that as seniors in our community, as we all age, it becomes more challenging to manage our own health care. And what Capital Healthy Living is about is trying to make that process easier for seniors in our community. We don't necessarily provide, through Capital Healthy Living, the medical visits and the care that's delivered in the hospital. That's done through Capital Health or another provider. What we offer is a number of services to make it easier for people to manage that process, to schedule appointments, to get back and forth from their appointments, to better understand what has occurred in their appointments and what they need to do to remain healthy.
So there's a follow-up piece to this, too.
Absolutely. It's a continuous communication. It can be follow-up if somebody is at their doctor's appointment and really wants to get some more specifics about whether it's their medication or what occurred during that visit. Oftentimes, so much information is provided to us in a short 10 or 15-minute visit. It's beneficial to have a follow-up phone call with a care manager to understand all the details of what happened. That's even doubly true if somebody's in at the emergency room or is admitted at the hospital. We can provide that follow-up to make sure that all your questions are answered and that you understand what the doctors and nurses have prescribed moving forward so that you remain healthy.
That's right. So you're not back at the hospital for an unnecessary reason. So give me some other examples of the kinds of services a typical participant in Capital Healthy Living would be able to receive.
Well, as I said before, in many ways, it's the support services that people need to manage healthcare. So one example I mentioned or may have mentioned was transportation. Oftentimes, seniors living in the community are driving their own cars, and we certainly encourage that and want to support that. However, if you're not feeling well, it might be easier to be driven to an appointment. Furthermore, if you have a fall and you banged up your knee and you maybe need some physical therapy, you may not be able to drive your car for a week or two, but it's very important that you get into those appointments. So Capital Healthy Living provides transportation back and forth to all of the medical appointments with Capital Health Medical Group or at Capital Health. In addition to that, we provide 2 round-trip visits from your home if it's a non-medical condition. Maybe you want to go to the grocery store or need to visit somebody. So we add 2 more round trips per month as part of your subscription. That's one of the examples of transportation. I can share with you some of the others too, Michael, if you like.
Absolutely.
Preferred access, oftentimes scheduling of appointments and making sure that you are having the appointments with the physicians as needed can be a challenge, especially if you're trying to schedule 2 appointments on the same day to make it more convenient for yourself. Another example is if you may not be feeling well, you may call up and want to get in to see your primary care physician as soon as possible. All of these can be challenges. With Capital Healthy Living, our participants have direct access to their life care manager is the name of the position. It's essentially their person inside of Capital Health who will help schedule those appointments. In many cases, avoid a trip to the emergency room. If somebody's not feeling well, maybe if they get to if they have an appointment with their primary care physician within the next few hours of the same day, they can be addressed that way than feeling the need to go to the emergency room.
This is obviously a big help and relief to the seniors themselves, but also I'm thinking about the burden, if you will, that it lifts off of family members that are the ones that many times are the intermediary with the healthcare system and the doctor's offices and doing the kinds of things you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's a two-way street also. I think oftentimes the participant or the senior in the community doesn't want to necessarily call their family member for a ride back and forth. Oftentimes people want to be independent and manage these issues on their own. And yes, I do agree. Having a parent who falls into this category, I recognize that you always feel like you're on call or need to be able to be available for those if somebody needs a trip to the doctor or needs some additional help. So I think it can be a great relief. In many ways, what I believe Capital Healthy Living is, it's kind of like your personal health care team. It allows you to get transportation, schedule appointments, providing that coaching and engagement involved with the follow-up care from an appointment, and that can all be served up to you in a way that you would like it. So absolutely, I think it's a benefit for the family as well as the participant.
Well, it makes all the sense in the world. So who qualifies for this? How do you get in on it?
Typically, we're looking to serve people, or it's most beneficial for people that we're serving in the communities where Capital Health has facilities or doctor's offices. So we often mention Mercer, Burlington, or Bucks County because that's where predominantly our offices are, although we don't limit it to that. If somebody is from outside of those counties and wants to join, we would certainly look at geographically where they are and be able to offer those services. There is a fee. It's a subscription service. It's $50 a month. And then essentially all that we would ask somebody to do is we're providing educational seminars twice a month. You can find the dates on the Capital Health website, capitalhealth.org. Come to a meeting. We typically will have it at lunch or breakfast, provide a little bit to eat. We'll explain all the details of the program. If it's something you're interested in, we'll follow up and see if you want to become a participant.
Is this something that insurance or Medicare covers, or is it just private pay?
Health insurance typically will pay for those medical services, but oftentimes the challenge isn't necessarily the appointment of the doctor, it's getting back and forth to it. So these are support services that are not typically paid by an insurance company.
What is it going to look like to you when it's successful and working the way you'd like to see it work?
Well, what I would really like to see is that seniors who live in our community oftentimes have raised their families here and are very comfortable and want to stay close to their families, their friends, their community, their church and synagogue or mosque. I want them to be able to do that for as long as possible. And making it easier for them to manage their health care, I think, will be a big asset to that community. So I would, as we grow and continue to add services to this program, our goal is always to make it easier for seniors to stay healthy, stay out of the hospital, stay out of the emergency department, and get the care they need to be able to do the things that they love to do in their life.
That's a great note to end on. I want to thank my guest, David Dafalow, who is Vice President of Population Health for Capital Health Systems, for filling us in on Capital Healthy Living today. If you want to find out more about this program and get the schedule of educational seminars, here's a phone number you can call, 609-537-7087. That's 609-537-7087. 7087, or as Mr. Dafalow mentioned earlier, you can go to the Capital Health website. Thanks very much for being with us today. If you found this podcast helpful, please share it on your social channels or check out the full podcast library for additional topics that may be of interest to you. This is Capital Health Headlines. Thanks for listening.